Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. This is another morning, Sunday morning here in Vancouver. Weather is very nice. I hope wherever you are, you're enjoying your day, tranquil, starting your day. I think in East Coast, you must be about, 11:30 in the morning. West Coast, we're here about 8:30. I hope I will get a chance to talk to you guys in the afternoon because then I would be bright eye and bushy tail, not so sleepy. Hope you had a great day. Today we're going to talk about some universal issue, and that is simply called the roots of breakups and relationship challenges. You know, everybody wants to have a good relationship. Everybody deserves to have a good relationship. And everybody enters in a relationship in best intentions. Nobody enters a relationship thinking and saying that, I want to mess this up. So obviously, everybody is looking to be doing something to bring a better energy into their lives, and they enter into a relationship. Now, today we want to talk about some of the roots of why these things don't always go the way we like it to go. There are lots of roots to this thing, but today, we're going to talk about some of them, and maybe a major veins of these roots. And after that, you can ask a couple of questions if you have time. There are lots to talk about, so I'm going to condense a few points that, I think it would be a good start, and then other sessions maybe you can get into it deeper. So, what we need to understand is, in a relationship, two people got to realize what is their intention from this relationship. What are they coming into the relationship for? Are they coming into the relationship to be happy? In other words, they haven't been happy alone. Now they're coming into the relationship to be happy. If that's the motivation, is that the same motivation as the other side? Is the other side is also coming in to be happy? If that's the case, two unhappy people are coming together to make each other happy. Well, they could make themselves happy. So how could they make the other one happy? So coming to a relationship because you want to get happy, you want to be happy, you want to have the other person make you happy, that's pretty much a recipe for disaster. First, you got to be in a happy place, then decide that you want to have a partner. So it's important to know that if your reasons to be in a relationship is the same as the other person. Maybe somebody comes into a relationship because the other person has more money, or has a nice car, or can, buy things, has more comfort. Or maybe the boy is interested in having a relationship with this a young lady or this lady because she's pretty and aesthetically, physical attraction. So we want to know if that physical attraction is enough to bring a bonding. Because as you know, pretty much nothing physical lasts long. Even the cars need to be repaired and parts got to be changed. So nothing physical in this world really lasts long. So all the bonding takes place when it is beyond the physical. So let's see if there's anything beyond the physical. Because once the physical novelty runs out and is not new anymore, then that's where the problem starts. So, and most younger people, they either take their relationship so seriously or too seriously, or they don't take it seriously at all, and they think it's a playland, and they got to be getting on as many rides as they can, because they think the more rides they have, the happier they will be, and they think life is about more things to do, and the more we do, that's where happiness resides, where that is not really the case, is it? We are conditioned to want to be more, and that feeling of wanting to be more pushes us to try to do everything and think that the more we get, the more we eat is better, the more we get is better, the more we are, and by being more, maybe if I have a relationship, I'll be more. So all these makes them to think that they will go from one relationship to another relationship because if this didn't work, well, that means something wrong with them. I got to go somewhere else to see if that ride is better for me. So again, it's not the number of rides that you ride, it's the understanding of what feelings, what things you're hoping to gain from this experience, and if that is aligned with the things that the other person is hoping for. So we know that this is not a game, and you got to understand the roots of what it is and why it is that you're getting to. Let's example, if you go to a doctor and say, "Doctor, my tummy is hurting," and the doctor keeps looking at your stomach, the skin and the muscles, and says, "Well, I don't see anything." Well, would you call that a good doctor? No. You expect the doctor to ask you some questions. "Hey, listen, what did you eat last night? Is your mom and dad allergic to peanuts, or allergic to this or that, or fish, or whatever?" Ask some question for history. Get into how you're put together. By understanding how you're put together, then he can diagnose and he can help you to get well. Same thing with us. How are we put together? When we go into a relationship, do we know ourselves? Relationship about two people. These two people, do they know about themselves? Do they know how they are made? Do they know how the other person is made? So what do I mean? Well, what we are made out of is not what we are physically just, seeing each other as physically we are. We are like the iceberg. You know, iceberg, you see a big piece of ice in the ocean, on top of the surface of the ocean, and you say, "That's an iceberg." But really, is that the whole iceberg? That's only the piece that is visible to you on the surface of the ocean. And that's called the tip of the iceberg. Same thing with us. The physical being, the physical presence that we have is like the visible portion of the iceberg. But like the iceberg, we too have that inner strength, inner power, inner portion. Iceberg has hundreds or thousand times bigger than what's visible on the surface of the ocean, underneath the ocean, which is not visible. The same thing with us. We have mind and body. The body is the visible portion of the iceberg. The mind is that invisible portion, which is the substantial part of the iceberg. And the mind, the psyche, is the substantial part of us. Now we're getting into it. Stay close, stay tuned. We're going to now get to the juice of the matter. So, we realize that we are not just the visible part, the physical part, we're also what's hidden. And that hidden part is a substantial part, like the iceberg. Now, if you go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, mindthatseekstruth.com, there is a portion there that shows the iceberg, and if you click on that, it will give you a chance to watch a 10-minute video. It's complimentary. It's a video of a seminar I did in the local university just recently about how to end fear, the end of fear. And in that video, I demonstrate what happens when the tip of the iceberg and the bigger portion of the invisible part of the iceberg get together and they unify in human being as an exercise. So I show how mind and body, when they're combined, what kind of powers we possess and what kind of a unification we can see what its unification does. It's an exercise. It's interesting. You can go take a look. Mindthatseekstruth.com. Now, coming back to where we were. So, what is this mind part? What is this invisible part made out of? Well, that's the part that communicates with each other. That's called the psyche. So, what is this psyche? Well, the psyche is where you actually try to bond and do bonding, communicate, and understand each other. That's where the whole thing is. Well, what is psyche is made out of? Well, psyche is got a content, right? And we call that consciousness. So, in order to understand the whole of the person, you got to look at the tip of the iceberg, the physical part, if you're attracted to it and so on. But the only physical attraction doesn't come up to any bonding, and when the novelty runs out, the problem starts. And the other part is the invisible part of the iceberg, which is the psyche, the consciousness, the content of us. So how is that consciousness is made out of? Well, the consciousness is where the meat of the matter starts. That's where our conversation really starts. From thousands of years ago, many different attributes, behavior, way of thinking, through genes have been changed over, passed over. Eventually, we become the inheritance of that. And certain behavior and understanding, it's included in how we are made up. But then, since birth, we've been also conditioned by so many different angles, so many different things, such as our parents, mother, father, siblings, our teachers, the environment that we grew up with, the weather, the type of weather it was, how the mood of it was, the teachers that we encountered, the things that we read, the movies that we watched, the news that we looked, the dogmas, the rules of the society, the religion that we belong to and we believe in, the tribals, the customs and cultures, and the everything that you've come encounter with, whether you personally experienced it or you got to know about that, has shaped us and has shaped our consciousness. That's called the field of the known, the field that every thought that we come up with, it is born from that field. Whatever you have accumulated in your consciousness, the content of consciousness, that would be the field that helps grow seeds. Those seeds are your thoughts. Your thoughts come from your memory. Everything you learn through life yourself or from generations past to you has created your consciousness. Now, the question is this: because of that consciousness, how you're put together, you have created a certain way of life, certain way of thinking, certain way of doing things, certain way of seeing things, and the angles that you see life, the way you deal and interact and negotiate life. And that is called the order. That is your order. Now, every single person has a different consciousness because everyone has grown in different societies, different cultures, different religions, different things they read, different people they encountered, and that has shaped their consciousness. And because of that, through that, via that, they've created their order. So this person has a different way of thinking because of the content of consciousness, what they've gone through and experienced in life, and this person has a different one. And now they get together. They want to be in a relationship. Well, this one has a different order, and this one has a different order based on the content of their consciousness, which is the significant part of the iceberg, the invisible part, what we really are all about. Me. The me is that the content of your consciousness. So this person with a different order and this person with a different order, now they get together. Now, this person's order is now being interacted and being interfered or being disturbed by this person's order. So the order of this person, this partner, creates a disorder in the order of this person, and this person's order creates differences and disorder, a turbulence in the order of this person. So right off the bat you can see why many differences and challenges come into the relationship, because their whole background, the way they've been made, the way they've been thinking, all their experiences, beliefs, everything changes even if they live in the same city. The things they've been exposed to is all different. So now they're trying to make this a one unit. That's going to be a very difficult thing. That's the root of the matter. So if you have some challenges in your relationship, it's not because the person really necessarily wants to be mean or defying you, well, although there's lots of difficult people around with bad intentions, but the reason is that you guys are made so differently in the content of your thinking, which that guides the way you see world and you interact with the world, and your whole order, the norm, the way you were living before you became partners in a relationship, it was different. Now you don't see that being a balance for you. It's an imbalance. So therefore, you have to understand that the reason that problems come up is not because you just want to be mean to each other, because you're at the different stages of life and different binoculars that you're using to see the world, and through that you negotiate the world. Therefore, it is important for you to realize that you're not having relationship with each other. You're having relationship with each other's orders. You have to understand that. It is not the physical shape of the person that you're having a relationship. Oh, she's so pretty, she looks wonderful, and that's enough for me to fall in love with her. You never fall in love with anybody at the first sight. That's pretty much the exciting factor. That's the presentation part. That's the motivation to fall in love, that you're attracted to someone. But to really see if you can love that person, you got to understand each other's psyche and see if you guys can have a relationship with each other's orders. How you guys got to be who you are. How the content of your consciousness is interacting with each other? Can you understand each other? Therefore, it is very important that you understand that you need to create a mutually understandable order now that you're together. Understand your backgrounds, understand the differences, understand how you look at life, and don't be at each other's throat because, oh, you didn't do what I said. Oh, you didn't do what I said. Well, I said it this way. Well, I said it that way. Well, I'm right. Well, who says you're not right? Both may be right or may be wrong, depending on which angles and what you're looking at and who is comparing to the way that their psyche is put together. So, having said all that, I want to bring to your attention that all these orders are ideas, images that you have created for yourself, about yourself. And you also have an image about the person that you're in a relationship with, the way you see her or see him. And these images are interacting with each other based on the order that has been creating them. So for you to must realize that you need to cooperate with each other to understand more about each other's inner understanding, inner contents, and see if that is something that you're compatible with, or work toward becoming compatible and creating a new order. And that's going to take time and a challenge. However, now, I want to recap. So, you got to know what is it that you're desiring to get into this relationship for. Because as you know, if your only purpose is the physical interactions, that physical interaction will not bring any bond. And in order to be bonded, you got to see how many things you have in common. So first you got to know, am I really going into because of desire? Because desire cannot bond with anything. Desire is about what you want. And what you want is exactly the fact that you desire that person, to be with that person, covers up all the other reasons that you may not like that person, because of the excitement, that coating on the icing on the cake doesn't let you see the ingredients of the cake. It's so pretty, it's so shiny that you really don't care about what's inside at that moment, and you say, I just want that person. And therefore, you really don't focus on understanding if that person is something that you can understand. You go about it with your desire. And your desire is incapable of bonding. Desire is about what things that you want, your selfishness. And once all those things, after a few months in a relationship, all those novelties go away, then suddenly you become awake that, there are things that I really want, which is not really all these desires that I wanted at the beginning. There are other things that I want on a daily basis. And yet, I now don't have the icing on the cake to tolerate all these differences that I can see now. I'm awakened, the icing of the cake is gone, now the ingredient, and I don't like the ingredients. So it is very important to begin with not to be so infatuated by the excitement of the new thing and novelty, and try to understand what's in the cake. And then you be able to see if you can cope with it and you can make something together or not. If you want to build something, you got to look at the foundation. The foundation should be sound. And that foundation is in our psyche. It is our content of consciousness, not just the way we look, or about the money we have, the kind of cars we have. So stop jumping around from this to that just because something went wrong and didn't work out and it's not the way you wanted it. It went wrong, it doesn't work because the content of consciousness. So try to understand each other more and deal with it rather than jump to another branch and another branch, another branch. And soon after, eventually, even when you settle down, because you've created this habit of jumping to another one, if things don't work, you will always be breaking your relationships and think that, well, I got to go to the next ride. Perhaps I like that one. But first, you got to like yourself and know exactly why you're going to the relationship. So number one is, what is it that you're going to the relationship for? What do you want out of it? Number two, the physical attraction is not love, and it's just the interest generator. Is the third, is the physical attraction or both, is it physical attraction only, or is it both physical and mental? The mind and the body, the tip of the iceberg and the significant part of the iceberg, which is the invisible part. Now, number four, are the consciousness tolerant of each other? Can you communicate with each other? Can you consider the differences at the conscious level, or you're just infatuated with how things are shiny? Those shininess of everything goes away, and eventually you got to wake up and smell the coffee. So number five, are we drastically changing our order. Remember we had an order before we came to a relationship? And are we drastically changing this order, the way we were doing things and interacting with life? If that's so, then we got to deal with it right away, not wait for a little while and then suddenly say, oh, so many differences that I didn't notice. No, that's why it's not working. So pay attention to the details. Number 6, are we focused on trying to have these 2 different orders work together? Or we just focus on the aesthetics and, again, the things that we have, the way we make each other feel and how pretty we are and this and that, so forth, or how much money we have. Are we only focused on that, or are we really focused on trying to make these 2 different orders that come from different places now become compatible and work together? And number 7, are we considering each other's order? Do we actually think that the reason that this person is not doing it that way or saying that way or feeling that way is because of his or her content of the consciousness, the way they had their order, not because they're trying to fight with me, not because they really don't want to cooperate with me or understand me. It's because that's how they're made. So let's work through that rather than thinking, oh, I gotta fight, I gotta, go into battle and win. I'm the leader. My way goes first. And the last one, are we willing to build a new order? And that's where everything starts working or falls apart. So now that we've shared as much as I could, as fast as I could, because there was so much to talk about, let me see if you have any questions, and maybe I can answer some of them before we end today's talk and wait for the next time that we will have more time for the question and answer. Let me read some of it. What is his name and where does that's not a question. You have my name on your post. Mehran is my name. Dadbeh is my last name. You can also again go on my site and you can see there's a consultation available that you can book and consult with me on your problems. I have consultation, a Skype consultation around the world, from all over the world, and we talk about the relationship problems or psyche problems, things that may be concerning you, and so on. Okay, nice, love it, thank you. What about new order? What about new order? Give me a question so I can answer. Is that gin or tea? Well, it's too early for gin, and I don't drink. It's just that in university, I know after some soccer games and whatnot, we were kids, we all drank. That was a long time ago, before we know that alcohol is really not good for us. But maybe, I don't know, some people like a glass of wine. My father always had a glass of wine with his dinner, and he always told me, when are you going to be normal? Have a glass of wine with me. And I said, Dad, I just don't enjoy it. Anyhow, so that is tea. It's a green tea. And what else? What is your website? That's called Mind That Seeks Truth.com. www.mindthatseekstruth.com. Go in there and kind of look around there. There's sample chapters of my books there that you can read and see if you like it. There's a seminar that is there that you have 10 minutes of it you can watch and see what you can get out of it, and just go through it and see what is out there. There are ebooks, the books, and what and so forth. My books are going to be is on Amazon. It's going to be on Indigo, and it's also on my site. So I'm excited about you guys finding as much help as you can in order to make your journey through this life a little bit smoother. Does age have something to do with the relationship at all? I'm talking about 22 years of age difference, being older than him or young. Oh, wow. Well, you answer me. We just talked about order and how content of the consciousness put together. If a person is like 20, 30 years older than the other person, what is really attracting them is really either the beauty of the lady that is attracting the man. The lady is 22, 30 years younger, and he's older, obviously, he's still a man and he's infatuated and he's attracted to that beauty. And maybe the lady is attracted to the wisdom of the man, or the comfort situation of the man, or ability to provide that the man can, or whatever it is that is. But their psyches are put together differently. She's at the age, it comes from a different background, different era, and all that affects, had extreme effects, tremendous effect on how the content of her consciousness has been put together, and his content is maybe a little bit different, far different. And again, the question is, can they bond and can they meet each other at the level of order, level of their consciousness, not the physical or the apparent things, the money, the car, the watch, the travel, the ha, they go to the restaurant and drink. All that is limited. Everything physical pretty much is limited. Can you make your relationship move from the limited portion of physical interactions to a bonding through the content of the consciousness being able to be compatible? Okay. Now, how do long distance relationships, that's another thing. Well, when you really don't physically see each other and you don't see how each other interacts in the society in real situations, so obviously when you don't see them, how they interact and negotiate with the day-to-day challenges of life, then you can't really get to know about the content of the consciousness. You only see them from far, you only write, and only a limited time, lovey-dovey, hi sweetie, how are you doing, I'm doing, how was your day, great. There's nothing really coming to the picture to kind of throw them off of their balance and see how they react, how they interact, and how they take the challenges. So it's not a good way of judging each other when you're so far away, because everything from far, you're so far, you desire each other to be together, you long for that, and it masks everything else that you could see and you could be concerned about. And so it's best to have a chance to bond that way. How do I pass that one? What about if you look in the eyes of someone and you feel you don't? What you really see in the eyes of someone is that you like that person. It's aesthetically beautiful or appealing, or had a good time in that conversation or in that thing. But looking at someone's eyes, it can tell you something. Yeah, don't deny it, because I believe in that energy and I've trained enough in emotions and energy to know that has a lot to do with it. Yes, it does, but that's not the whole thing. You really got to understand the whole package, their order, not just part of it. What about if you look, okay, see them, maybe know your name. Yes, my name is Mehran, and again, my site is mindthatseekstruth.com. And that's basically so. Guys, if there's no other question, I don't want to take too much of your time. It's Sunday morning here. It's just about 9 o'clock, and I think we had a good beginning of the Sunday for ourselves. And I wish you to have a wonderful day and wonderful week. And hopefully next week we'll have a chance to have a Q&A and answer more of your questions. And I look forward. And I try to go through these questions that you put here, if you have, and try to answer them through the week as best as I can. I always do. Sometimes there's... And now, promise me, if you like what I talked about, if you enjoyed it, share it. Make sure you share it as much as you can, like it and share it, and let people know there's help out there, and so we can all be in this community of the amazing things in the world and stay in touch. Have a wonderful day and wonderful week, and talk to you next week, hopefully the same time. Watch for the post. Bye-bye.